Devy Degens, how is it going? Your Devy Scouts are back. I am SC Romero here with my wonderful partner, Tommy Harvey. The NFL draft just happened. What exciting news. But as you know, if you're a Devy Degen like us, you're already thinking about the future. So on this episode, we're going to give y'all some draft hot takes. Tommy's going to grade one of my first round rookie 2025 drafts. But then we're going to give you a 2026 preview of our rookie first round on how we have it right now. All that coming up on the Devy Degens. Stay tuned right after this.
Breaking down the hate, man, we call it like we see it. Finding all the gems while the rest just sleeping. Freshmen to the league, we ahead of the curve. Picking out the next star, put them on the reserve. From the big time schools to the deep cut finds. Gotta know who's next when it's draft day time. Stock rising, playmaking, watch them ball out. Devy Degens, yeah, no doubt. Yo, it's time to talk the future Devy style. Prospects rising, diamonds shining. Only the real ones grinding. Welcome to the Devy Degens, let's go. Let's go.
Tommy, my guy, how's it going, brother?
Man, just living the dream, buddy.
Living the dream. I hear that, man. How before we get into our hot takes of the draft, what did you think about the draft? Team-wise, player-wise, anyone you were super hot on, anyone that you're very disappointed in where they got drafted or just how they got drafted? Just what are your thoughts overall on the draft?
Well, I got a guy that I thought his landing spot was fantastic. We'll jump into that here in a minute, but just like everybody else, is kind of surprised that Shador dropped so far. Was really expecting him second round at the latest, and then he dropped all the way to the fifth, and
crazy.
Yeah. Just goes to show. I mean, the NFL saw all the same red flags that we all saw.
So let's talk about Shador a little bit here. People have asked me, what are your thoughts on this, on Shador Sanders? And so we talked about the red flags, right, that we see. No one wants to deal with his off the field stuff, his all that kind of nonsense that goes on. As a GM, as a coach, at this next level, when you're getting these young kids go to this next level, you still have to have the mindset of you're going to develop them into what you've seen as a franchise quarterback. So, in my opinion, a great coach knows how to handle those situations. Now, once that player becomes elite, a la Aaron Rodgers, you don't really have control. He can do what he pleases because guess what? He's Aaron Rodgers and he gets on the field, he can ball out. But when they're not elite, it's up to the coaches to say, hey, you have to play within our parameters as far as act within our parameters to be part of this organization or we cut you. Now, I get it. I'm not disappointed in him dropping. I'm disappointed that quarterbacks went before him that shouldn't have, right?
Well,
so go ahead.
I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, those teams that were in search of a quarterback outside of the Steelers, because the Steelers have always had a good organizational culture.
Right.
Those other teams that were looking for a quarterback, they are very questionable culture-wise.
Sure.
Titans, Browns, Saints.
Right.
So why bring in somebody who has all these distractions, is major, has major drama questions?
Right.
Why bring him in whenever you're trying to instill a culture in your organization? Whenever he's most likely going to make your culture worse.
Right. Fair. To answer that question, because he's better than Tyler So. I mean, point blank. The Saints taking that pick in the second.
I get it.
It was, in my opinion, that was malpractice.
But at the same time, those teams who passed on quarterback, like the Saints and like the Browns, I mean, they're going to be looking for quarterback next year whenever it's a quarterback-heavy draft.
For sure.
So
for sure,
why take somebody like Shador if you don't see him as your franchise guy, and then and then wait till next year whenever you do have guys that are potential franchise quarterbacks?
I want to get to this comment real quick, but I hear you. John Paul, thank you for joining here. He says, guys, I was not surprised with Shedeur falling. In my opinion, I see a Teddy Bridgewater clone who has no elite traits. Add in the circus of a sideshow. Can you blame teams passing him? I hope the kid works out. John, and to Tommy's point, yes, I could blame teams because why bring in that guy again? Because you cannot a coach, a Devy person cannot look me straight in the eye and say Tyler Show is a better quarterback. So regardless of what the drama was, you wasted a pick taking Tyler Show in the second round when you could have got a positional pick. You could have got one of the running backs. They went and got Devin Neal later. Why get this guy in the second round? You can argue Gabriel. Gabriel is a winner. He has shown some great things. I'm not mad at that. You can argue that. You can argue Jalen Monroe. I'm not mad at that. He's shown traits of being elite playing at Alabama. There is no reason why Shedeur should have went behind Tyler Show in a day 3 when Tyler Show was a day 3 prospect. I know people are heavy on him. Go watch his tape. This guy was not good in college. I apologize for saying this about him. I'm not a football player. I'm an analyst. That's my take. He was not good, and there was no reason why he should have went above Shedeur. The Saints wasted that pick. They had Rattler there. I would have just done with Rattler and gone after another receiver. In my opinion, it was far just straight malpractice for the Saints. A horrible pick, the worst pick of the draft, taking Tyler Show in the second round.
Well, kind of argue that we're talking about the Saints culture.
Yeah,
true. I mean, they kind of have a tradition, kind of have a reputation of drafting poorly. So
they're scrambling to get the next Drew Brees.
Well, not only that, but like I said, why take Shedeur whenever your franchise quarterback is probably next year?
Yeah, true. And we were talking about that before. Like with these quarterbacks in the first, we saw a lot, pass on. If you need a team, if you need them outside of Cam Ward, don't take that quarterback in the first. Wait till next year, and if it doesn't work out.
And also, imagine they get the 1-1 next year, and Arch Manning comes out.
Yeah, beautiful.
Archie but now again, I mean, Saints legacy guy.
But that's to my point is they wasted that pick in the second because he would have been there later. That's my biggest point too. Not quarterback aside, I think that was a wasteful pick because they could have got another stronger positional value. If Tyler Show is the bridge because Derek Carr and his injuries and they don't believe in Rattler or Jake Hader and they chose Tyler Show to be their bridge, again, you wasted a day 2 pick on the quarterback that's going to be there for a season. Then let's get to some of these comics here. Brian, thanks for joining in. I truly think teams were terrified to bring in Shedeur because Shedeur isn't elite. He's good, and they know he struggles. Dion is going to force him into the organization. Again, this comes with being a coach and being a GM, standing 10 toes down and saying, look, Prime, look, Shedeur, you're in our organization. It's this or the highway. Well, that comes with being truthful about the organization.
Another thing, Shedeur has never played for anybody but Prime.
Facts.
So what makes anybody think that he's going to be able to play for anybody but Deion Sanders?
Yeah, I mean this is him leaving the nest in a sense, right? He has to fly and grow or go. Jamie, thanks for joining. I always appreciate Jamie coming on the shows. Not to toot my own horn, but I show over Sanders as a prospect. Jamie, I think that's a bad choice, but hey, everyone chooses their own. So I appreciate you bringing that in. He's going to say Shell's a natural thrower to all levels on the field, especially on deep passes. He can throw from all kinds of body positions, altering arm angles while staying accurate. He is also very inaccurate. He throws some horrible passes as well, but a lot of quarterbacks do, and they also have those elite traits.
He's also very, very injury prone.
Yeah. And what is he, like 25? Typically, your 25-year-old players, quarterbacks don't pan out well as well. Above average athlete, you can extend plays and pick up chunk yards and flip TD for Clemson. That's competitive fire. You can't cheat, John Paul. But if we're being honest, the teams that need a quarterback this year are not solid focused organization, Browns, Giants, and Saints. Yeah, hey, John, to Tommy's point, that's exactly what he's saying. So hopefully they're coming in and they're saying, hey, we didn't want to get the guy that could be a franchise because we rather have one of the franchise guys coming out next year. And that's why we're having our 2026 draft. Jamie Mensley, he's battle tested 3 different offensive systems, including true understanding at Louisville, worked adapted each time. Injuries issue, especially on the Saints field, for sure. Guys, we appreciate your comments. We're going to go on to say some of our hot takes though with this draft. My first one, as I'm talking about quarterbacks, is Jackson Dart. The Giants traded up back into the first to trade him. I said Tyler Show was a bad pick. I think this one kind of was. I don't think Jackson Dart is the starting quarterback for the New York Giants in 5 years. Meaning, they may give him his 5th year. I don't see him giving his 5th year. Already dabbles on the hot seat, so I can see him not being the coach within a couple years if it doesn't pan out. And guess what? A new coach comes in, says, "Hey, Dart's not my guy. I want to go get my guy." What are your thoughts on that?
Well, Dart's not the starting quarterback week 1, so
For
I
sure.
mean, year 1 he's probably not playing because
Right.
you got Russell Wilson and you got Jameis, so they're drafting him to kind of learn behind those guys. Me personally, I thought Jackson Dart was QB1 in this draft.
Fair.
Me and you have spoken about that before.
Yeah.
I thought he was the most talented quarterback, the most proven quarterback in this draft. Played, very high level within the SEC, which is the highest level you can play at in college football.
Right.
And you look at Cam Ward. I've been on Cam Ward for 3 years.
Right.
I always thought Cam Ward was going to be a dude. I still think he has that. I mean, I don't like his landing spot. I think the Titans are terrible. They don't have anything surrounding him. And we're going to kind of talk about that a little bit later on here too. But I just think we talked about battle tested a second ago with Tyler Shuck. Jackson Dart is extremely battle tested.
For sure.
So I think he kind of has I think he has the it factor.
And I mean, he's sitting behind guys that have gone through adversity, right? Guys that not only have been through injuries, but guys that have had their organizations kick them out. How do you bounce back from that? Because they still play at elite status. Say what you will about Jameis. He is the reason why the Browns look good towards the end of the season, mid-season, right? He is legit
He's
the
a
reason.
slinger, man. He's a slinger.
Talk about Russell Wilson. Everyone doubted him, but yet he came out and ball, and he's a Super Bowl quarterback. So say what you will about some of these guys. He, battle tested. They can definitely teach him the ropes. Now, my question for you on Dart is, did the team need to trade up to get him, or could they have stayed put and got him? Do you think?
No, because I think Cleveland would have taken him
At 201?
Yeah, with the first pick of the second round. I think them moving up was necessary with them winning him. And the fact that they were able to, again, get him at the end of the first, they were able to secure his 5th round option rights. So if they would have waited to the second, they wouldn't have had that.
For sure. Okay. Fair point. So let's go ahead. What's your hot take here, Tommy?
Mine is that Caleb Johnson got the best landing spot of all the running backs in the draft. I think he's looking at a rookie of the year season. To me, he is Le'Veon Bell, same size, 6'1", 225, same hand size, patient zone runner, just like Le'Veon Bell, waits for the blocks to develop. Very similar 10 and 20 yard splits. He ran a 4.58 at the combine. Bell ran a 4.6.
Yeah.
They're nearly a carbon copy of each other. And you saw how Mike Tomlin used Le'Veon Bell during his prime.
So let's talk about the running backs that went before him, right? Gentry to the Raiders, right, at 6. You had Hampton at like 20, something like that, 2021 to the Chargers.
Right.
That's going to be interesting because I do think Najee is going to – they signed him to a 1-year deal. It's not a big deal, but they still signed him, and Najee fits really what he is. I mean, Hampton's a younger form of Najee, if not a little bit better. But, I mean, there's still going to be some complication in that backfield, right, as far as fantasy relevancy. They got Quinshon Judkins with the Browns. That one's a great pick, but they also got your guy,
Dylan Sampson.
Right? Dylan Sampson, so that's a little bit, but I think the odd man out is Jerome Ford, in my opinion.
Yep.
You got Travion Henderson, who went to the Patriots, and I've been on record saying, though, the Patriots are the organization he needs to go to because he's less is more. And then the committee type behind Ramondre be great. But
the volume guy there is Ramondre.
For sure. Right. But I think the explosion guy is going to be Henderson, right? He's going to be the home run hitter. Then you had RJ Harvey to the Broncos. A lot of people are hype about that, thinking, okay, maybe Sean Payton can make him into a Camara type of role.
I don't like it. He's not an interior runner.
Right.
He is a stretch zone guy.
For sure.
And that's not really something that I mean, Peyton has done that in the past with obviously with Alvin Kamara, but RJ Harvey's not Alvin Kamara.
For sure. And then we get into your guy, Caleb Johnson as well, who I I think we had him mocked too, or I think when we were talking, we've been saying that would be the fit he needs to go to. Arthur Smith there, just the grittiness and what he did at Iowa. He kind of just fit that Pittsburgh culture. Like you comped into Le'Veon Bell, he fits that culture. And are you worried? Because I'm hearing this within communities. Are you worried about Jalen Warren at all?
No, Jalen Warren's a tiny running back.
Right.
I'm not worried about that at all. Jalen Warren proved he wasn't much last year with, last couple of years with Najee Harris.
Right.
And I was just looking back at some of our notes, and I actually had his dream, had Caleb Johnson's dream spot to the Steelers.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about it, and I said he is back during that show. I said he is Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah. No, that's great. Great call there. Absolutely phenomenal. Rookie of the year incoming, man. He's on the block. I'm on 201 when we talk about this grade. He's still there. And it's him and Trey Harris, but shit, rookie of the year, I may have to take him there. So we'll see.
The move there.
Okay, so I have one more hot take before we get into our rookie grade here for the first round mock of 2025.
I got to tell you, I'm going to dispute this heavily.
Okay, yeah, let's do it. So by this, we talk about day 3 targets. What I'm mind to look at is Tennessee. You mentioned he doesn't have options. Is wide receiver Kamari DK. Could make a big impact. I have it as year 1, but I mean he's probably gonna sit behind Calvin Ridley. They did just sign Tyler Lockett right during the draft or right before the draft. I don't really recall, but he does have a lot of speed, does have a lot some good footwork, could develop as someone that becomes that stretch. You think about Nikhil Westbrook-Akini last year, this could really be something that DK kind of forms into, especially when you think about a vertical offense that they're likely going to run with Cam Ward at the helm. So for me, I think that's a good target to have later in your drafts. I'm not taking him. Probably earliest I would take him, honestly, would probably be like 4th round, late 3rd, maybe. But that's someone I would target that could have a boom season.
Well, let me preface this. The reason I am going to heavily dispute this is he's never going to be that outside guy. He plays primarily in the slot, which is where Tyler Lockett's going to play. Right. And also, they signed as an undrafted free agent Xavier Restrepo, who is a slot guy who already has a rapport with Cam Ward.
Right.
And then on the outside, I think that second wide receiver is going to be is Elakeo Manor. I mean,
third day 3 pick.
He's that size, field stretcher. That's the guy who's going to end up stretching the field.
For sure. Very, very possible for him. Elakeo Manor, definitely good. You brought up Restrepo. Undrafted free agency. I mean, how early are you taking Restrepo in your rookie drafts?
I mean, I would still take him late 3rd, early 4th. I mean, the reason why he fell was because he had a hamstring injury that really caused him to have a bad draft process. He's not a 4.8 guy. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows he's probably a 4 or 5 guy when healthy.
Right.
I mean, he screwed up by trying to run. He shouldn't have ran, and that caused him to go undrafted. Otherwise, you were probably looking at him being a 4th round draft pick.
I don't know if you saw the video when he got drafted, but the coach was saying, Cam's been in our ear all this whole time since you drafted him. Said, hey, go get, he was like, go get Restrepo, go. And I would have said that if I was the coach, but he was like, just the way the chips fell, this doesn't matter the process. In my eyes, I'm like, Restrepo, it does matter because my salary is not going to be as great as a drafted player going undrafted, right? But it is what it is. He is on the team. Congrats to him. A lot of crazy landing spots, that's going to impact the draft. But as I mentioned, I think these dart throws become the running backs, before.
I mean, we've talked about it many times in the past. Xavier Restrepo's our dude.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not going to stray outside of that just because he was an undrafted free agent. There was there was extenuating circumstances to that. Like you were even just saying, Cam Ward vouched for him. He's going to be there. He's going to make the team. He's going to show what he's going to show what he can do. And he's going to end up being that backup to Tyler Lockett in the slot.
Yeah, very possible. A lot of time will tell. I think he's going to be going higher than what you see. But you look at some of the other wide receivers that got drafted in that day 3. a lot of them got in some crowded rooms, so it's not like anyone really has a clear shot. So you look at someone like Restrepo who has his quarterback bouncing for him, saying, "Hey, get him on the field. He knows what I'm looking for." That can definitely benefit a lot. Speaking of rookies, rookie drafts, the NFL rookie draft took 3 days and over 12 hours, I think. If you think about each day going 4 hours, just about, that's a lot of time, man. And if you're doing betting, that's kind of crazy. If I want to do a fast draft with these rookies, what are you doing, Tommy?
Yeah, just go join Fast Draft. You can start building your rookie portfolio. Just use our promo code DEGEN, DEGEN, get a $25 deposit. Go and join that.
All right, let's take a look from our sponsors about Fast Draft just to give y'all some insight real quick.
Rookie. It's all about rookie talk in fantasy football right now. So why not go use all that knowledge to do something other than a mock draft? Chris Jimino won $8,000 with just 2 teams last year, and each draft took 5 minutes. That's pretty good ROI. You can start doing rookie drafts for money today on Fast Draft. The Origins tournament is live. It is the place to go and monetize your knowledge of rookies and use your favorite player profiler host promo code for a $25 deposit match. Now let's go start drafting faster.
There you go. Go start drafting fast and get those fast drafts in. Now, I know the big show is going to be our 2026 way too early rookie first round mock, but one of my leagues, it's a no-timer league. The first round is done. Tommy, you don't know what any of these picks are. I want to hear what you're grading on each pick and where you're at. John's coming in and saying, I love the Jordan James landing spot. He's behind 2 injured guys and a great scheme fit. John Lynch spoke glowingly about him. DJ Giddens, too, I'm excited about, who's only behind JT with the Colts. Well, what are your thoughts on those 2 guys?
No, I feel the Jordan James one. Definitely. Being behind Christian McCaffrey, you just never really know what his health is going to be like, especially with him getting older. Isaac Garendo is another guy who's just constantly hurt. He was hurt at Louisville quite a bit. The DJ Giddens one, JT is the dude there. He's the bell cow. Now, unless they're wanting to take a little bit of stress off of them, kind of early game stress, then I could see DJ Giddens getting some run. I didn't necessarily care for that spot for him. I was a big DJ Giddens guy going into the draft. I thought with the right spot, he could have really been a solid contributor. Just not super stoked about him going to the Colts, just because he's behind JT.
Right. 100%.
There's no doubt there. JT is the top 5 running back in the league.
Right.
So the only way Giddens is getting on the field there is just to kind of spell JT kind of early in the season, early on in games, early in the season.
Right. Or if they have it blown out, you get in some run too.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
I like that. So let's go ahead and go in with my rookie. And again, just you talk about the picks or just say what you will about the picks, but let's see your thoughts on this 2025 rookie first that one of my leagues just completed here. First pick, Ashton Genty. I don't think much needs to be said about that.
Yeah, he was 1-1.
Okay. Second pick, Travis Hunter.
Not feeling it. For one, I don't see him playing every down on offense. Probably be a half the time type of guy, but when he's on the field, he's going to get looks.
Right.
I just don't see him being on the field enough to justify the 1-2.
Okay. And you have Brian Thomas there. It's not like he's going to go in there and be the alpha anyways. I mean, you have to really trust in one Cohen making Hunter kind of like the Godwin, I guess, but they already said kind of Brian Thomas may fit that role. And then you also have to trust Trevor Lawrence, right, to feed him like that. So 103, Cam Ward.
Is it a super flex, I guess?
Yeah, super flex.
I mean, you can't necessarily argue it just because the quarterback has in a 2 quarterback, type of league that quarterback obviously has major value. I wouldn't have taken him there. Okay. But I mean, at the same time, if you need a quarterback, you're not going to get. You're not going to get him any later. You're not going to get him in the second round. So, if you needed a quarterback, then you got to take him.
That team had Kyler Murray and Matthew Stafford at the quarterback position.
Okay, so yeah, you probably needed him, I
Yeah.
guess. So
Pick 4, Omari Hampton.
it's a good pick. Again, not super thrilled about his landing spot, just because I think he is sitting behind Najee Harris for the majority of the first part of the season, at least.
Right.
Towards the end of the season, he may start to get a little bit more burn. But
Right.
um, it all depends on need. He wouldn't have been my second running back off the board, though.
That's fair. The guy took him having really Kenneth Walker, I do believe, is his only true running back. So that was his second RB there.
Mhm.
105, Ted McMillan.
That's fine. That's fine.
Good.
Again, it totally depends on need. If you needed a wide receiver or if you needed a running back, it just depended on need there. If you needed a wide receiver, then that's fine there.
106, Travion Henderson.
Maybe a little early, considering his landing spot. We were talking about earlier, he's kind of going to be the lightning to Ramondre Stevenson's thunder.
Right.
But we know thunder gets more volume. So
Yeah, 100%. But lightning could be more points if they just
could
they
be
strike. So,
yeah, right. But he has to strike, right?
Right, he has to strike. Yeah, and lightning oftentimes doesn't strike twice a lot, right? So yeah, 1-7. This one I kind of knew this guy was gonna go here, but it's also interesting. Emeka Ibuka.
Perfect pick.
Okay, at 1-7.
Perfect pick. Yeah, he's going to be the number 3 wide receiver there.
Mm-hmm.
But he's going to get enough volume, especially with Godwin's injury history and Mike Evans' injury history with the hamstrings and back. He's going to get plenty of volume.
Yeah, J Mac and him are probably the future, right? I would assume.
Yeah, Jalen McMillan immediately falls to number 4 on that list. So
fair. 108, Quinshawn.
That's a good pick. It's a good pick. Quinshawn is going to be the volume guy there. Dylan Sam, we were just talking about Thunder and Lightning. Quinshawn's the Thunder. Dylan Sampson's going to be the Lightning. So Quinshawn is going to be the Thunder, or he's going to be the volume guy. He also has good hands, so he can catch the ball out of the backfield too.
For sure. Glad you like that because I traded up to get that, so I appreciate it. 1-9, Colston Loveland.
If you needed a tight end, absolutely.
Nah, he did it. He had Brock Bowers and Pat Freiermuth. It's not tight end premium either.
Oh well. Yeah, probably wouldn't have taken him then. I mean, what's his running backs and wide receivers look like?
He needed running backs. So this guy, that was his.
Yeah, I mean, there's
first pick. Let me just see his running backs here that are worthy: Bucky Irvin, Joe Mixon, Tony Pollard, DeAndre Swift. He has wide receivers for days. He has CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, Drake London, Downs, and Debo. So
he has good enough depth at both. So I mean, I guess build up tight end depth. It doesn't really, it's fine.
He traded Laporta for 1st and 6 earlier. So 110.
So he basically traded Laporta for Colston Loveland.
Yeah.
Okay.
That swaps it out.
I mean, dude just said what I was thinking right here. Should have taken Caleb Johnson instead of Loveland.
Caleb Johnson's available on my pick at 201. So and I'm stoked about that. No, I am. But so is I'm talking trades right now. So we'll get to that here in a sec. Jackson Dart, 110.
Sure, if you need a quarterback. Problem is he's not going to play this year.
This is the same guy that took Cam Ward. So he took 2 quarterbacks here.
Okay, I mean Jackson Dart's not going to play this year. So I mean you're looking at him as being his QB4 for this season. I guess that's fine. He's not going to need him to play, so may as well.
Okay. So this was the striker, right? You talk about Caleb Johnson instead of Colston Loveland here, John. 111 took RJ Harvey.
Mm-mm.
First round or no?
I've never been in on RJ Harvey. He is a lightning to somebody's thunder, but the problem is there's no thunder there in Denver.
You don't like Estimate?
I don't like Estimate.
Just joke. I know.
I don't like Estimate.
So RJ Harvey, we mentioned it, Kamara 2.0 potentially, right? But who knows if that actually happens.
He's not nearly as athletic as Alvin Kamara. Yeah,
there's a lot, and he's a lot smaller, and he's coming from a UCF school competition. Not, we'll see.
Could be at best he could be Ray Rice. At best.
Well, what they're benefiting, I think, is they know Bo Nix is a great check down quarterback. He did it a lot with Bucky at college, and they needed that. They missed that this past year, so maybe RJ Harvey becomes that guy and
Then they
really
should have
takes over.
waited. Then they should have waited and taken Jordan James,
Or Devin Neal.
or Devin Neal or DJ Giddens. Yeah,
And I don't think they took another back, which was interesting,
Mhm.
if I'm not mistaken. And then 112, Tyler Warren.
Okay, yeah.
Good. Would you have
Fine.
taken Warren over Loveland?
No, I'd have probably taken Loveland. I think Loveland's a better pass catcher.
Okay. You're not worried about the competition there?
With Cole Kmet, not really.
With, I mean, just the targets as far as they drafted Burden as well. And the idea
Yeah,
of DJ and DJ Moore.
no, I mean Ben Johnson uses his tight end pretty well,
Yeah,
so I don't have an issue with that.
fair. So 201, it is beyond the clock. It's between Caleb Johnson and Trey Harris is my two guys. Caleb Johnson's probably
You
going
know
to
the
be it. But
you know
as
the
I
scale of
mentioned, people have been in my inbox about trades. I'm going to continue talking to them to see what's
Make him
happening here.
if you're going to trade him, make him give you a lot for it.
Someone's
Because like I said, you're looking at the potential offensive rookie of the year here.
So we're getting into it. Someone's offered me a 26 first. Plus some other stuff. I don't want to say it because people in my league may be listening.
Is it a good team? Is it a good team or a bad team offering you that?
It's a good team.
Then
It's a good team. It's a good team that doesn't. Their running back is. I can't. Oh, well, say it as well. They have a strong running back.
Problem is trading that pick to a good team for a 2026 first. That's gonna be a late first rounder.
So if I could get that first and flip it for CMC, would you do that?
Oh, CMC is getting old, man.
Okay, fair.
I mean, I've always liked CMC, but the problem is too many injuries the last several years, and he's getting older, and it's just not. I mean, I'm looking to get out of whatever CMC shares I've got.
If I was able to do that, my priority would be taking Jordan James. You know, I mean, like it would be. I think Jordan James is the guy. I don't think Rondo's the RB2. He might be on the depth chart, but I think James is going to be the guy that if CMC were to go down, James is going to be utilized a lot. So I would have to make it a priority to go in there. John's asking. I'm asking for a 1 and 2 next year. You're giving up potential RB1 on your roster, but I would just take Johnson. Let's see. Appreciate that insight. Hey, you know, between us, my guys may be listening, but he's offering a first and second, a second this year and a first next year. So there's, you know, we'll see. Johnson was my guy, and I told people price goes up if Johnson is there at my pick, and he is. And I'm just like, I traded up for Quinshawn. I'm about to get Caleb Johnson now too.
What's your running back situation?
In that one, I have Najee, Charbonnet. Give me 1 second. Najee, Charbonnet, Aaron Jones, and Travis Etienne. And I drafted Quinshawn, and
you need Caleb Johnson.
Well, what's worse is my wide receivers are Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hill, Calvin Ridley, and Michael Pittman.
I don't see a wide receiver available for you to take right now.
Trey Harris?
Not with the Chargers. He's wide receiver 3 right now on that team at best.
Okay, fair. And I tell people, like, I've been on this show saying that this is the year you take the running backs. Like, I don't care. Take the running backs. Mm-hmm. I can't go against my own word, right? It has to be it.
Yeah,
John agrees. You agree. Caleb Johnson should be that pick. We're actually discussing on if we want to put a timer on because it's no timer right now. So that's why it's kind of being held up because I'm waiting for everyone to vote, see if they want a timer. If not, we're going to run the clock. So, you know, starting second round. Speaking of that, you know, that's fine. What would you grade those on a scale? You mentioned some good picks. You mentioned some bad ones. Overall, would you like that draft if you were part of it?
Oh, man, if you were taking Quinshawn Judkins and Caleb Johnson, A+.
Hell yes. Thank you. Seriously, thank you, man. That means a lot for me coming from you. So
I mean,
let's go.
if you're taking both those guys, it's an A+ because you weren't really in a position to take a wide receiver there because they were both the guys were gone with Egbuka and with Tet. So you took basically the two guys who probably had, other than Ashton Genty, the two guys who had the best landing spots. And I think Caleb Johnson did have the best landing spot.
Right. For sure. And Genty was 101, and I was going to trade my soul for that. So this is what it is, right? So, but That's a 2025 rookie. It is still going on. We hope you are drafting accordingly. You heard this first round. Tommy gave you analysis on who was too early, who was too late. Good picks around the meteor, where you're at 107, 108, what you can do there. That was his insight on that. But speaking of, prospects or rookie drafts, we're going to get into our 2026 one. But Tommy, what's some interesting news about the Devy Degens on what we're doing behind the scenes?
Yeah, man, we've been doing the Devy values for dynasty trade calculator.
Yes, sir.
They're getting into the Devy market. They didn't really have a Devy database, and we've kind of built that, and we've done the values for it. So if you have a subscription to Dynasty Trade Calculator, it now includes Devy guys.
Yes, sir. And we're, we've been on different calculators, right? Seeing some places only have a few. I think last we checked, we were about 50 deep, if not more. So we're definitely trying to go in to make sure your Devy rosters are stacked from top to bottom.
We're over 75 deep now.
There you go. And that's including quarterback, running back, wide receiver. I think we have some tight ends in there, if I'm not mistaken.
Have a couple tight ends in there too.
So, obviously when it comes to Devy, that's kind of tight ends, you know, hit or miss. A lot of your Devy drafts, your rookie drafts, there's a lot of tight ends available, but it's still good to have those ranks. And we're comparing them side by side with the pro prospects. So that way, if you do have, Patrick Mahomes, what's that value mean as far as Devy players and how you can adjust? Of course, things have changed, so we're going to be constantly updating it as well. It's a little bit easier right now during season, be a little bit more chaotic, right? As things fluctuate with injuries, maybe, or just people going crazy, having great seasons, all that kind of good stuff. John's over here saying, in Judkins and Johnson, your RB room is set. Wide receivers are easier to trade for, especially number 2 and number 3 guys.
Yep. And then
watch this so back at CC, you can hear yourself.
Then in the third round, if Dylan Sampson's there, because you've already taken Judkins, take Dylan Sampson.
I think I ended up. Let me just double check here, just so I can be truthful to the people watching. I'm pretty sure I traded. Oh no, I have 308. Yeah, so I can do that. I was like, I think I traded.
Sampson probably won't be available 3-8. So I mean, you may be able to go somebody like a Jalen Noel or something though. There,
I'm hoping Neil drops. That's my guy. So if Neil can drop, I've been talking about Neil a lot in that. So maybe someone takes him, but I'm hoping that goes there. But yes, as a Devy trade calculator, check it out. We're gonna talk about the 2026 rookie class now. Now, this is what we call way too early class or way too early draft. Excuse me, simply because we're going to really just break it down on where right now, the draft for today for the 2026 class, on who we are taking and why. I'm gonna start off. We kind of alternated picks here. Right now, my 101 in the 2026 class. A lot of stuff still needs to happen to solidify this, but right now, my 101 is Garrett Nussmeier. When you talk about his throwing mechanics, on what he can do, when you talk about layering, what he does as far as throwing down the field at different levels of the field to his wide receivers, I think there is an excellent shot that he becomes the 101. And we just talked about the Saints doing something and taking Tyler Sow and potentially having the 101. Yeah, Arch may be there. Nussmeier has a tie to New Orleans. His dad is the OC there, right? So there is some tie there. I think last year, people will say, well, he didn't do a lot last year. The receivers weren't, to me, premier wide receivers. He has better wide receivers this year in Barry Brown and Nick Anderson. He did lose Mason Taylor, yes, as a tight end, but he's also gained another elite prospect at the running back position in Harlem Berry. It's kind of share that low with Caleb Durham. I'm excited to see what Nussmeier does. I already have him as the 101. I think he is going to show out at LSU to say, hey, I deserve this chance. Now, again, a lot can happen, but right now, if I were having a Devy draft, and for the 2026 class specifically, Nussmeier will be my 101. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, and even though he lost Mason Taylor, he still has Trey'Dez Green there, who is who's a big time major tight end prospect. So he's got all the weapons. He's got to cut down on those turnovers, though. He throws way too many interceptions for my liking. But yeah, he's definitely very, very high on in my Devy rankings for quarterback. So I don't hate that pick for you.
You talk about Trey'Dez Green, former basketball, or also on the former, he might still be playing, but basketball player as well, right?
Still plays for LSU.
You look at his traits, think about basketball, it's hard to not think, okay, maybe he could be an Antonio Gates-esque type of player, right? Just someone that has that vertical presence, great hands, great hand-eye coordination that can be a safety net for Nussmeier. So I think
Very
there's lots
athletic.
of love.
Yeah,
Right.
very athletic.
A lot of stuff to love about it. Let's go on to the 102. Who are you taking at 102?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Arch Manning.
Okay.
You know, got the March for Arch going on right now. So those bad teams are the teams who are going to be at the very top of the draft next year are going to be looking at guys like Garrett Nussmeier, Arch Manning, and even your next guy right here that we're about to talk about. But
For sure.
Arch Manning has he's taken over for what's potentially the number one team in the country this year. And I don't necessarily think he's going to have the clear-cut weapons that Quinn Ewers had last season, just because, Matthew Golden's gone, Isaiah Bond's gone, Gunnar Helm is gone, but he's going to be breaking in guys like Ryan Wingo and DeAndre Moore and Jamie French and Kalik Lockett. So I think Arch has everything you want from a quarterback, plus he is a very mobile guy. He even had his own run packages last year, for crying out loud.
Right.
So I think Arch Manning, I've got him at the 1-2 right now.
Yeah. John, we're gonna get to your question here in a sec. Who he did make our list, by the way. Arch, just about him. You mentioned he's like kind of the clear cut. I mean, honestly, think about you mentioned Wingo, Moore, French, and Lockett. I kind of like that wide receiver room. I think that's going to be potentially better.
It's a good wide receiver room. It's just very inexperienced.
For sure. This is you. How are you going to be a leader, right? How are you going to be the leader to this young group to say, hey, I need y'all to do this. And good leaders are vocal about it, say, hey, I need you to make sure you're cutting at this moment, kind of situations. Teach him how to route run. Obviously, he's not the wide receiver, but if he knows where he wants his wide receivers to be, it's up to us to be vocal about it, to say those type of things. Because these guys, in my opinion, are elite prospects, but yes, they do need to show it more so at this college level. We saw glimpses of Ryan Wingo here and there, but there's definitely some great things. John asks, how good is Nick Singleton, guys? I've heard so much about him. He went back to school this year in a deep RB class. How is he compared to this year's prospects? He went back because he knew he would have been a top 5 running back, I feel like.
Yeah, he's getting first round love for next year. In a lot of way too early mock drafts for NFL draft mock drafts, not just rookie mock drafts.
Right.
But he is getting a lot of first round buzz for next season.
For sure. Yeah, I think the potential is there because the thing about him, he's producing in a split backfield. He's not the primary workhorse, and I think that's what kind of turns on NFL GMs about it, is because he doesn't need to be our main guy. He can still do good.
And I've said it on this show before. I don't like his inconsistencies with his pad level and running. He runs too high. Sometimes he runs too high. Sometimes he runs perfectly. So he's just too inconsistent with it. I think he needs to clean that up first.
For sure. No, that's fair. I love that. At 103, you mentioned him yourself, or you mentioned the team. I'm gonna go ahead and take Kate Kublik. I mean, we talked about time and time again. This class is deep. Again, way too early. There are some guys that can stay another year, but Klubnik's gonna be one that goes out. I had the hot take that Kublik throws for 50 touchdowns and leads Clemson to ACC championship and potentially the national championship as far as the game, but I really love it. This is his year to go out there. He has been a quarterback that has shown consistent progression. He has had his flaws, but each season, if you go back and watch his early seasons, each season he is learning from those and he is taking those and adapting and doing what he needs to do. He is blessed to have a great wide receiver room, but I think that's what's going to make him so great. And I know I said Nussmeier. If you told me Kate Klubnik is the quarterback one of the class this time next year, I'm gonna say okay, I believe it.
Yeah, I mean there's quite a few guys you're able to put in that situation. You got Nussmeier, you got Manning, you got Klubnik, you got Aller, you got Sam Levitt now, who's getting a lot of buzz. Lenore Sellers, there's a bunch of dudes.
For sure. There's a bunch of guys. Corion, thanks for joining. Can we do a way too early 2027 afterwards, followed by 2028? Hey, future shows, stay tuned because
Don't
this
tease
is
me with a good time, man.
yeah, this is Devy Degens, man. You wants to go 2029 just to say the word. I'm just kidding. We have to do a lot of research for that one. But yeah, man, we'll definitely have that. So Corey, stay tuned for future shows because in time we will get to those 2027 and 2028 first round rookies as well. So stay tuned. Go back, watch our last episode though, because we did our rankings. We had some guys in 2027. I had one in 2028 as well. So check out those rankings, see where we're at as far as ranking guys within those classes as well. You're up with pick 4. Who are you taking?
I've got Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love as the first non-quarterback coming off this list.
Okay.
He's my overall RB1 in Devy, and I don't think it's particularly close right now, at least until we see what Mekhi Hughes does on the bigger stage at Oregon. Jeremiah Love he's a jack of all trades. He does everything, does everything pretty well.
Great.
He's got terrific contact balance, which he bounces off tackles, kind of like a lot like Ashton Genty did last year.
Right.
You go and you look at all the forced missed tackles. He had a lot of them,
Sure.
just because he's able to kind of, even when he gets knocked onto 1 foot, he can take that 1 foot, regain his balance, and then keep going.
For sure. I love, to me, it's consensus Devy RB1 at this point in time. Will he be the overall RB1 in 2026? I think there are. We mentioned Singleton, you mentioned Mekhi Hughes, a lot of guys that can show up to potentially be that. You're going to talk about another one here later, but right now it does look like he is, just with the production he had this past year, what he does with his footwork, how he is able to evade the tackles and just be efficient. And he's really going to be one of Notre Dame's top guys again this year. So great pick there. And, as the first non-QB, I think that's an excellent pick. I'm going non-QB as well. This guy did not play at the spring game, but I think this is the year we've been waiting for. I've been saying it time and time again. He's going to be the wide receiver 1 for the team. That is going to be Oregon's wide receiver, Evan Stewart. Now, there are some rumbles of DeCorian Moore. DeCorian looked great at the spring game. But Evan Stewart, man, I think we've been waiting for this year. He's had opportunity. He hasn't really made the most of it. But I think this is a time where he's already getting first round love as well. And I think he is going to be the first wide receiver out the board come this time next year.
Yeah, we've only been waiting 3 years for the production to kind of kick in with him, right?
Yeah.
Everybody was kind of hoping for it his first couple of years at A&M. Never really happened. Everybody was kind of hoping for it last year when in his first year at Oregon. He was okay. He wasn't great. He was fine. But this year's the year we're looking for that big time jump up. If he can match potential with production, then yeah, he's a great pick.
Now, for you on Evan Stewart, is it just having a season over 1,000 yards, or is it like going out there and booming and having like 1,400 yards or some crazy numbers?
I think just showing he could be the number 1 guy. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be 1,400 yards, Biletnikoff winner or anything like that.
Right.
It has to be, he has to be the number 1 guy though, and show he can handle being the number 1 guy. And whether that's, he has to get the targets. He has to get, he has to be the go-to guy in the red zone. He's got to be that dude.
For sure. I feel like that's good. Yeah, I think he can be. Landon's one that wants to feed his guys, the veterans. So I think there's a possibility there.
Yeah, and it also depends on what the flow of the offense is too. I mean, they can be more of a run-heavy offense this year because they have Mekhi Hughes and they have a kind of a.
They have a.
He's not gonna be a first-year starter because he started at UCLA, but he's the first-year starter within the program.
Right. Yeah, they have a bunch of. They have running back depth, man. I'll tell you about some of this depth. They have some great depth there as well. Who are you taking at 6 here, Tommy?
I'm going to go with Minnesota running back Darius Taylor. I think if it weren't for the fact that he's been often injured during his time there, that he could be potentially the RB1. But the problem is injuries have held him back.
For sure.
I'd like to see him stay healthy. If he can have a healthy season, he could be potentially looking at pushing Jeremiah Love for that RB1 spot.
Yeah, I'm saying I absolutely love Darius Taylor. Was a huge fan of him as a freshman. Came out, did some work, but as you mentioned, injuries kept him sidelined at times. But he's definitely a back that could push for that. It's gonna be harder when you talk about who's he play with. Minnesota. It's gonna be. It's harder when the players aren't playing on the national televised type of teams. I know
Mhm.
Minnesota does get some love, but he's not at Oregon, Ohio State, even Notre Dame. He's not at these programs, so people may knock him just based on that because they don't see him, and it's harder to watch him in certain situations. But you can turn on weekly television and see Notre Dame playing. So you're seeing Jeremiah Love a lot. You're seeing Makai Hughes a lot more, right? All these kind of bigger schools get those opportunities where he may not as well. But Darius
Well,
Taylor,
and honestly, who's tuning in to watch Minnesota play Northwestern?
right, exactly. I mean, we are, but not everybody, right?
Right, right.
So for sure. No, I love it there. Next pick here, we're going with the 107 here. I took the Oregon guy, right? I'm gonna go ahead and take the other Oregon guy as well, and that's gonna be their quarterback, Dante Moore. This is you were talking about Evan Stewart that he needs to show it. This is Dante Moore's time as well. He could potentially rise up to be the QB1. We will see it time and time again. The way Lanning has his offenses is the way that they just go out there and shine, right? Bo Nix wasn't looked as a first round prospect. Phenomenal season. He was taken in the first round. Dylan Gabriel, there was a lot of talk about him that he's not going to make it. He went out there and balled. I'm pretty sure he had the best completion percentage in the college last year when it came to it. Now it's Dante Moore's turn, right? I believe Dante Moore is a little bit more accurate or can be a little bit more accurate than what Gabriel is. That's a tough one to call,
He
but
also
he
has
has his
prototypical
start.
size. He also has
Right.
prototypical size.
For sure, and it's really just about him getting it together. He went to originally commit to Oregon, backed out after they brought in Gabriel, went to UCLA, backed out, from UCLA, and came back to Oregon. I got that messed up. He came back to Oregon when they had Gabriel. Excuse me. He backed out once Bo Nix said he was coming back. Went to UCLA, came back. Gabriel. Oregon said, "Hey, we want you here, but you're gonna be our backup. You're got to learn stuff." And he took that. And he's learning, and he's ready to take the helm. Now they have a bunch of quarterbacks there too. That the competition is great. One thing about Oregon is they have depth, but their competition is flourishing because if you don't make it happen, guess what? There's a guy that will. But I love what Dante Moore can bring, and I think we could see a top season from him, potentially first round quarterback next year. But I would take him at 107.
Yep.
Who are you taking at 108 here, Tommy?
My at 1-8, I'm actually taking my wide receiver one for the class, Cornell Tate, out of Ohio State.
Okay.
He's not the wide receiver one there, obviously, because Jeremiah Smith is, but he's going to step in and be that wide receiver two on the other side of him.
Okay.
He was the clear wide receiver 3 this past season because of Mecca Ibuka was also there, but Cornell Tate has big time skill himself, and he's looking at being a first round draft pick next year.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. He's been solid. Interesting enough, I had Brandon Ennis above him, but Cornell Tate has been the one that actually took the shine now and has become that solid guy, and I think he understands his role.
Well, and Ennis is going to play that slot position that Ibuka played.
Yeah, and so hopefully he comes in, but I know they also have Millen Graham there as well. But Cardinal Tate has flourished. He's not someone saying, "Hey, I need the targets. I just want to be on the field," right? And he's doing that. John's asking, on a scale of 1 to 100, how excited are you about Jeremiah Smith? 27 guy, but I've heard the word generational with how Marv has looked so far. So I temper my expectations. Is he that special? He's better than Marvin Harrison Jr. in my opinion.
If Marvin Harrison Jr. was supposed to be better than all the other Ohio State wide receivers, Jeremiah Smith is that much better than Marvin Harrison Jr.
100%. Agreed. You say generational. If you will talk about overall Devy rankings, Jeremiah Smith is the 101 overall. We're not talking about him in this one because we're doing 2026. Right. He's 2027, but he's the overall.
Jeremiah Smith is probably a top 5 dynasty receiver as soon as he enters the league.
Yeah. And we say that because we knew he was going to be elite, but then he stepped on the field and he showed us superstar elite. Like not just elite player, he showed us superstar elite, like Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson type of elite in his first year as a freshman. Now he had a full season in the system.
He may have been the number 1 overall pick this year if he was eligible to come out.
Yeah, I agree with that. And if he drops a 107, 103, teams are laughing at the first two or the teams that passed him. But yeah, I agree. I don't know off the top. Has there ever been a wide receiver taking 101?
Keyshawn Johnson was taking number 1.
Okay. So there you go. And Jeremiah Smith, I think, can be that guy. There's some quarterbacks in that class too, so we'll see. But teams jump to the quarterbacks, but Jeremiah Smith is that good. 109. Sorry, we are talking about Cardinal Tate, got into Jeremiah Smith talk. We talk all day about Jeremiah Smith. 109 here, though. I'm going to take another quarterback here. As we mentioned, this is the year of the quarterback. I'm taking South Carolina quarterback Lenore Sellers. Now, I will say, we're doing these guys as 2026. Some of these guys may not declare and push to 2027. Lenore Sellers might be one of the guys, but as of right now, I think he's going to be a top prospect. He has the size. He does have some flaws to him, but I think he's a little bit more pure as far as not as raw as some of the older quarterbacks that we see with his size and athleticism. Definitely needs some progression and some development as well. But I love what I'm seeing so far, and I think he can be a future quarterback in the NFL for a good team.
Yeah, to me, he needs to be a more accurate passer. I think he's a better passer than what Jalen Milroe ever was.
Yeah,
and probably just as athletic, much bigger too. So Sellers definitely has the ability. I would take Lenore Sellers over Anthony Richardson, honestly. So
yeah. If I'm in Devy leagues and so on, what's that? I do that 100%. Now you take a risk, right? You always take a risk when you trade for a Devy player, but I would do that 100% if I had Richardson. Someone else had Sellers there. That's the comp they give him, but the comp is he does have better accuracy than Anthony Richardson does, right? So
he's also kind of proven to be a winner where Anthony Richardson never did.
Right, 100%. Now, who are you taking at the 10?
My 10th spot is Arizona State wide receiver Jordan Tyson. I've got him right up there with Carnell Tate and Evan Stewart, fighting for that top wide receiver 1 spot in this class. So if I'm taking Carnell Tate, I got to jump up and grab Jordan Tyson too.
Okay, that's fair. Now, Jordan Tyson has the athleticism, has the traits to be a great wide receiver. He has crisp movement in his route runs. He has phenomenal catch radius. I mean, he's going up there and he's going to stretch to make sure he gets that ball.
Plus proven production.
What does that do for Sam Levet? Like, where does Levet go? I mean, I guess he's early or second round then, or are we?
Oh yeah. Honestly, I would have probably taken Sam Levet over Lenore Sellers.
Okay, fair. But you take Tyson over Levet?
Well, if you have Sellers there at 9, I'd probably take Levitt at 9, and then and then I'm taking Tyson there, right at 10.
Okay, fair enough. Now here we go with 111. This is for you, John. You asked about Nick Singleton. This is where I'm taking my running back here at 111 here, and I am taking Penn State running back Nicholas Singleton. I just think, again, a guy that's been in the committee his entire collegiate career and is still dominated in that committee, right? You can argue he's not the best running back on his team. You can argue Kaytron Allen. You can argue he's not the best running back in the class, but he is a solid producer. I know you talk about his pad levels and everything, but yeah, he is still going out there making it happen. Those are things that can be taught, right? Well, what can't be taught is how to be productive when you don't get the opportunities as a true workhorse gets, which he doesn't do, but he still goes out there and be productive.
Well, what I don't want to happen to him is I don't want Nicholas Singleton to turn into Donovan Edwards. Everybody was all on Donovan Edwards, 2 years ago, and then this year he goes undrafted, and everybody who drafted him in Devy leagues is like, well, what do I do with the guy now?
Right.
So I don't want that to become him, and I think there's potential for him to be that. Just because he's not really the most physical guy. They're in between the tackle guys, Kaytron Allen.
Right.
You want Nicholas Singleton kind of bounce it outside and go because of his speed. So I really hope he doesn't, kind of revert back. I hope he doesn't degress.
Right. And I get that argument, but I mean, him and Kaytron both chose to come back. So I assume Penn State saying, hey, you're still our guys, because they have some depth too. We could talk about some of their running backs, but I think those two are still their guys, and their system works. They just fell short, And both those guys said, "Hey, we want to come back and win this thing, right?" And there is potential because you have two elite backs going back. Andrew Aller is still there, right? So there is opportunity there for them.
They also picked up Trebor Pena the other day in the portal, the wide receiver from Syracuse.
Yeah. So they're making moves and say, "Hey, we need pieces around us to make this work." But yet our core, or what's true to our heart, is the run game, and we still have both the odds to go out there and compete as well. So I hear that, and I think Singleton will be one of your later picks in the first round. He's going to be hitting this 111, 202 type of range when it comes to it next year as well. Sabi, go ahead and cap us off here. Who are we taking to finish the first round?
Yeah, I mentioned Sam Levitt earlier. I did not take him here mainly because I wanted to get another positional guy up here. But if I would not have taken this guy, then I would have taken Sam Levitt. But my guy here is USC wide receiver Mekhi Lemon.
Okay.
The guy's a Monroe St. Brown to me. You watch him play, they look almost identical on the field. Nearly, same size, same type of route running ability, same position. They both kind of run that slot spot. So I think Mekhi Lemon isn't getting nearly as much love as what he should.
Fair. You talk about Amon-Ra. I mean, when it came to rookie drafts that year, I got Amon-Ra in the third. A lot of people slept on him, and that was my guy. And I traded up to get him at 302 because I was like, wait, he's still here? Yeah, let's go get him. And yeah, I mean, I think that's for people within Devy that are watching this. He doesn't have that hype yet, so go out there and get him because he may not get that hype being at USC, and USC's kind of transitioning. I feel like they're not as prominent or as exposed as they once were as far as like the publicity. It feels like they're at that team. You think about like Matt Lyon there, and that was when they were like everywhere. Now it's not as much, right? They're kind of overshadowed by your Oregons and other Big Ten type of teams. Mekhi Lemon though has it. He is a great wide receiver that can be phenomenal.
Well, and everybody going into their when they were incoming freshmen, Zachariah Branch was the guy, right? He was the guy everybody had as the number one receiver in that class. This, that, and the other. I always had Mekhi Lemon ranked over Zachariah Branch. Matter of fact, when their incoming freshman season, I had Mekhi Lemon. I think my overall Devy wide receiver 7. Now he's kind of fallen a little bit back since then, just because more guys have kind of emerged, and the kind of inconsistent quarterback play that they've had kind of made his production kind of dip. But just watching the guy, I mean, I can't justify dropping him based on his skill level.
For sure.
I dropped him based on production because of inconsistent quarterback play. And like I said, other guys kind of jumped up a little. For sure.
No, I think you're wrong on the money with him. I think he's going to be someone we're going to be talking about. You talked about Zachariah Branch was a top guy, wide receiver 1 for his class. We didn't even mention him. He transferred out from USC. He's at Georgia now. Thinking about it off the top, we could probably get to 205, 206. I don't even know if I'm saying Zachariah Branch at this point.
I might not even be drafting him in the second round period right now.
Yeah. So 201, you said Sam Levitt. I'm okay with that. 202, we could talk about potentially Katron Allen. I think could fit into that area as well if they come back and have similar seasons as they had. We just did the first round, so we won't get crazy into it. But just to give people a recap, 2026 early first round for us right now is going to be, let's see, the 101. We are taking Garrett Nussmeier, LSU quarterback. At 102, we are taking Arch Manning, Texas quarterback. At 103, Clemson quarterback Kate Klubnik. 104, the first non-quarterback off. Year the quarterback is next year. First non-quarterback, Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love. 105, Oregon wide receiver Evan Stewart. 106, Minnesota running back Darius Taylor. 107, Oregon quarterback Dante Moore. 108, Ohio State wide receiver Carnell Tate. 109, South Carolina quarterback Lenora Sellers. 110, Arizona State wide receiver Jordan Tyson. 111, Penn State running back Nicholas Singleton. And 112, USC wide receiver Mekhi Lemon. John has a question here. SC, you got ASB in the third. I got Jalen Hurts and Puka years ago. Hot take from both of you guys. both of you, who is a guy in this year's third round who could be that guy if there is one at all? Have you both got one each? Do you mean the NFL draft or a guy that we would target in the third round, like in our rookie drafts? Or do you mean someone that's taken in the third round of the NFL draft? Before we answer that, did you hear that question?
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's
Oh,
if you're talking about rookie drafts, third round in the rookie draft, I really like a guy like Torrey Horton going to Seattle.
that's my guy.
It's a really good landing spot for them. They lost DK Metcalf, they lost Tyler Lockett, so really they're rolling with JSN there
Cooper Cup.
and Cooper Cup. But outside of that, Cooper Cup's again always hurt, getting older. So I think that's a really good spot for Torrey Horton.
Yeah, I mean they also have Ricky White, who could be their stretch guy there as well. You said Torrey Horton. I'm gonna go out there. Man, I would say two guys are both gonna be Oregon. I don't think one of them goes because Terrence Ferguson, I think, is a second round pick. I love his actual draft spot. If he's there in your third, you better smash that 301 with Terrence Ferguson. But a guy that I think will be in their third that could have some potential. I'm gonna have to say Jordan James. I just think, because of where he's at and the landing spot, if CMC goes down, CMC says, "Hey, I'm good to go. I can do this." If he goes down, which he has and he did last year. Their running backs, Jordan James, in my opinion, is better than Jordan Mason as far as what he can do within that system. I feel he can go in there and complement or kind of fit the role what CMC is doing as far as a pass catching back and be something good and elusive. He can catch the ball. He can run between tackles. He can run outside, has that speed. So I've said it time and time again, this is your take your running backs. I want to take it. I just think off the top. I'll throw someone else. Charles Brooks at Cincinnati. That's a guy that he may be there in the fourth because he got picked, later as well. I know people are heavy on Chase Brown. Charles Brooks is a bowling ball. And if they just want to pound the rock, Charles Brooks is going to be their guy. In my opinion, I'd rather have Charles Brooks than Chase Brown. That'll be. I'll say Charles Brooks instead of Jordan James now that I'm thinking about it. So those will be our guys. John, for everyone else, Devy Degens, thank y'all for joining. We hope y'all are here. We're going to be coming out with live episodes. Someone said 2027 rookie mock way too early. 2028 rookie mock way too early. Hey, we'll start cooking something up so in future shows y'all can watch that. Be sure to tune in live every Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget to subscribe to Player Profile Plus just to know where we are at Tom Harvey Sports, at the PPR. So for me, make sure you follow us on X. Ask us questions. We're here for y'all. Thank you to everyone for joining. Until next time, peace.